"Oh, that's so creepy," my wife, Anna, shouted. "I know, right? One of my coworkers sent it to me," Lori said, her attention stuck to the screen. They locked eyes, malicious smirks inching across their faces. "Wanna try it?" "Definitely," Lori replied as the sisters shifted their focus to me. I'm kinda scared to ask, but what are you trying, exactly?" Whenever those two got together, they were capable of some real mischief. And oftentimes, it came at my expense. "You'll see," Anna said, handing me her phone. I furrowed my brows. As I sank into the couch, I hesitantly glanced down at the screen, unsure if this was part of the ruse. A TikTok video was playing on repeat. A woman was on screen, her long, brown hair partially obscuring her features from view. A wide smile was plastered across her face. That alone was creepy, but the way she was standing, it was off-putting. The video cut on several occasions, and each time it did, the woman was in a different spot in the house, hiding behind curtains, crouching under the table, standing on the stairs. All the while, that same manic grin never left her lips, not even once. A man filming was getting audibly more freaked out with every encounter. I kept waiting for some sort of punchline. I thought that eventually, the woman would break the facade and return to her normal self, but she never did. The video ended with a close-up of the woman's bulging eyes as she lunged at the camera and a guttural shriek from the man filming. Once it was over, I hurriedly swiped off the video and breathed a sigh of relief. "Phew, okay, I see what you're..." I froze. It was only then that I noticed it. Anna and Lori were gone. They must have walked away at some point during the video. My heart dropped into my stomach. I really didn't like this trend, but I had a feeling that I was about to witness it firsthand. "Anna, Lori, come on, you know I hate this kind of stuff," I shouted, tentatively entering the kitchen. My eyes immediately fell to a pair of feet sticking out from beneath the curtains. I pursed my lips, marching up to the window. I ripped the drapes aside to find Lori standing there, smiling up at me. "Oh, I'm shaking. So scary," I huffed, crossing my arms. Lori held her pose for about 5 more seconds before she couldn't contain her giggles any longer. "Ah, okay, you got me. I admit, that wasn't as funny as I thought it'd be," she grinned, covering her mouth. "Believe me, I know. Let's go find your sister." Lori nodded, following behind me. "Anna, I found Lori. Time to come out now." I received no response. Lori and I continued to scour my home, searching up and down for my wife. Once I reached the top step, I saw it. The door to our room was slightly ajar, leaving a thin, inviting sliver of darkness. I can't explain why, but something about it sent a shiver down my spine. It was as if Anna had wanted me to find her. The whole thing felt wrong. I took a deep breath, mustering all of my courage, and pushed open the door. I nearly screamed once I laid eyes on the scene that awaited me. Anna was standing in the middle of the room. The only light illuminating her features was that seeping in from behind me and the muffled rays trickling in through the curtains. The middle of the room, where my wife was lurking, was drenched in darkness. Anna stood there, still as a statue, her jet black hair partially obscuring her eyes. Even through the shadows, I could see a nauseatingly wide smile stuck to her lips. My heart jackhammered against my chest, and beads of sweat began to form atop my brow. For the first time in our 12 years of marriage, I was terrified of my wife. I flipped on the light switch, careful not to take my eyes off her. "Anna, I found you. You can stop now." She completely ignored me. I only knew that she was still breathing by the slight rise and fall of her chest. The silence was deafening. "Any luck finding her yet?" Lori asked, snatching me from my stupor as she reached the top step. Yeah, I did," I replied, weakly pointing to Anna's motionless form. Lori marched right up to her like it was nothing. "Okay, Anna, fun's over. You're about to give your hubby a heart attack." My wife didn't respond. Lori tried waving her hand in front of Anna's face, to no avail. She didn't so much as blink. "All right, Anna, time to give it up. You're starting to freak everyone out," Lori said, clasping her sister by the shoulders and lightly shaking her. Anna slowly turned toward Lori and their eyes locked. Lori gulped before taking a step back. Blood pounded in my ears. There was nothing behind those hazel irises. I didn't even recognize them anymore. Lori backed away, never breaking eye contact, until she was standing directly beside me. "Tim, let's go downstairs and regroup." "Okay," she murmured. The panic in her voice made my blood run cold. "That works for me," I mumbled back. It felt as if we had to speak at a lower volume, like talking above a whisper would cause Anna to break. We crept out of the room, closing the door as we went. We'll be downstairs. Anna, it would be nice of you to join us whenever you're ready to give up on this dumb trend. Anna didn't acknowledge her. Once we made it downstairs, I took a deep breath. Lori sat on the couch, leaning forward and clutching her phone with a vice grip. What should we do, Tim? This was just supposed to be some stupid gag. Anna's always taken these things a bit too seriously, but this? I've never seen anything like it. She's really scaring me. I don't know. I've never seen her like this before either. Do you think we might be overreacting? I mean, maybe she really is just taking this a bit too far. Even I didn't believe that, but it was the only plausible explanation I could come up with. Yeah, that has to be it. Surely, she'll snap out of it at some point. Right, she has to. It wouldn't. The words caught in my throat. I caught Anna peeking around the corner, half of her face hidden from view. Her expression was the exact same as it had been when we'd left her upstairs. Lori traced my gaze until she realized who I was looking at. She instinctively backed away upon making eye contact with her sister. Tim, how long has she been standing there? Lori squeaked, shrinking into the sofa. I have no idea. We didn't even hear her walk down the stairs. The three of us sat there in silence. The tension was so thick that even a knife wouldn't cut through it. I could feel myself beginning to shake. Tim, I really hate to do this to you, Lori began, turning towards me, but I can't take this anymore. It's too much. I'm going home. Call me if there's anything I can do. And please, try to get Anna some help, if you can, she uttered, grabbing her purse. I could feel the color drain from my face. Lori, please, don't leave me alone with her. I don't know how to handle this. I'm sorry. I feel bad. Believe me, I do. But it's getting late, and my kids have school tomorrow. I shouldn't have even stayed for this long. I nodded, my bottom lip beginning to quiver. All I could muster was a weak, okay. Lori beelined for the door, straight past her immobile sister. Anna didn't even twitch. Instead, she opted to remain watching me the entire time. Once the door slammed shut, the pit in my stomach grew even deeper. I was at a loss for words. My wife and I stood there in a sickening staring match, neither of us blinking. The smile on her face never wavered. In fact, once that door shut, I could have sworn that I saw it stretch just a little bit wider. I don't know if it was the stress, or the fear, or Lori's sudden betrayal, but something in me snapped. This was silly. Anna was obviously still running with that stupid TikTok challenge, and I was feeding into it hook, line, and sinker. I started to get angry. Alright Anna, stand there for as long as you want. I don't care. When you're ready to talk about this like adults, I'll be finishing up some work on my laptop. She didn't respond. My wife just kept staring at me with that same Cheshire grin plastered to her lips. Fine by me. I was done buying into whatever she was playing at. I sank down into my armchair and picked up my laptop, careful to keep Anna in my peripheral vision. Something deep down told me that I needed to keep her in my line of sight. I opened my laptop, trying to distract myself from Anna's strange behavior by doing some research for an article I was writing. But I just couldn't seem to get it together. It's almost impossible to focus on a task when you can feel someone looking at you. I sighed. 30 minutes later, and I hadn't digested a single word of anything I'd read. This was going nowhere. I was preparing to try to communicate with my stock-still wife again when I heard it. Something near the doorway skittered across the floor. I slowly glanced up to where Anna had been standing for nearly an hour. She was gone. I strained my ears, listening for anything that might clue me in as to where she went. The only sounds that I heard were my own labored breathing and the rapid pounding of my heart. My fingers quivered. I didn't know if I had the strength to do it, but I had to know. With trembling hands, I closed the lid on my laptop just enough to see over it. I nearly screamed as it clattered to the floor. I scrambled out of my seat and backed up until I was pressed against the wall. Anna was on all fours, frozen mid-stride. She smiled up at me, again staying still as a statue after I'd noticed her. Something instantly caught my attention. Her eyes. I'd never seen anything like them before. They were hungry, predatory, and I was their target. I failed to calm myself down as I slunk around the perimeter of the living room, careful not to break eye contact. Once I reached the stairs, I bolted up them, taking 3 at a time, until I reached the top landing. I burst into our room, slammed the door shut, and made sure that it was locked. I was safe, or so I thought. What the hell is going on? This is insane, I said out loud, patting my pockets to try and find my phone. A sickening realization crashed over me like a tidal wave. I'd left it on the coffee table when I was working on my laptop. We didn't have a landline, either. I was trapped. I began to hyperventilate and pace around the room. What was I supposed to do? My car keys were in the bowl downstairs, so even if I was able to climb out of the window, I'd have to go back inside to get them. Running to a neighbor's house was out of the question. We lived on a secluded road, and we didn't even know the nearest people to us. In the end, I concluded that I had no other option but to try to sleep it off and hope that my wife was back to normal in the morning. I slipped into a t-shirt and gym shorts before lying in my bed. I knew that I probably wasn't going to get a wink of sleep, but I had to give it a shot. It was the only thing I could do. I turned the lamp off, and the room was bathed in darkness, aside from the faint yellow glow trickling in from underneath the door. Right before I closed my eyes, I noticed something that ensured I was wide awake. I could barely make out someone's feet blocking the light. I shuddered. How long had she been standing there? I didn't want to know the answer. I suddenly heard the doorknob begin to jiggle. My heart raced like a piston, and I could feel all the blood rush from my face. How could I have forgotten? I keep a spare key stashed on top of the door frame for emergencies. This was it. I was cornered. The door slowly creaked open. I could see the glimmer of Anna's stark white teeth through the opening. Her eyes were bloodshot, and rightfully so. I hadn't seen her blink once. I couldn't move a muscle. I was paralyzed with fear, waiting for my wife to scamper across the floor and do God knows what to me. But she never did. I don't know how long we spent staring at each other. It must have been hours. In that entire time, her mouth didn't so much as twitch. That twisted smile remained stuck to her lips like she was a figure in a painting. I don't know how, but eventually I must have nodded off, because when I opened my eyes again, Anna was gone. The house was pitch black, save for the moonlight shining through the downstairs windows. I could feel it. I could feel her, like a presence looming over me. Every synapse in my brain screamed at me to stay where I was, to wait it out, and pray that nothing would happen. But I couldn't. I steeled my resolve, ready to fight if need be. I flipped onto my back, fully expecting to find my wife hovering over me with some sort of weapon in hand. But she wasn't there. My eyes grew wide. I hurriedly scanned the room. I didn't find her. This was my chance. I crept to the door, stifling my breathing as much as possible. The house was eerily silent. Once I made it to the stairs, I peered down them, squinting to see in the dark. The coast was clear. I tiptoed down each step, avoiding the creaky ones to the best of my ability. I felt nauseous. I could feel eyes on the back of my neck wherever I went, like I was a lamb being led to the slaughter in the supposed safety of my own home. Once I reached the bottom, I peeked around the corner to the living room. I immediately noticed something strange. The back door was hanging wide open, and the porch light was on. I drifted over to it like a moth to a flame, picking up my phone along the way. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw when I looked outside. Anna was sitting on her haunches, crouched over something in the yard. Her long hair prevented me from seeing what she was doing. All of a sudden, as if on instinct, she snapped her head toward me with sickening speed. When our eyes locked, I felt like I was going to pass out. My wife was holding the carcass of a dead rat. She had devoured a large chunk of it, entrails, bones, and blood oozing from the rear end. But that wasn't the worst part. Somehow, even while ravaging a dead animal, Anna was still smiling. My fight or flight response kicked itself into overdrive. I slammed the back door shut and raced through the kitchen as fast as my legs would carry me, snatching my keys on the way. I shot out the door at lightning speed, not bothering to close it behind me. I leapt into the driver's seat of my Chevy and I stepped on the gas. As my truck kicked up dust, I happened to glance in the rearview mirror. I released a horrified shriek at what I saw. Anna was standing under the garage light. She watched me leave, that wide, bloody smile still plastered across her face. I don't know where I'm going. I doubt the cops will be of any help. I don't think Anna has technically done anything illegal, so their hands would probably be tied. I just had to get out of that house. I've parked at a truck stop for now until I can get my thoughts together. Even though I've made my escape, I'm still downright horrified, but not for the reasons you might think. I can't explain it, but ever since I left, I haven't been able to stop smiling.